Hi everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Merchants of Infinity, and this is put out by Rogue Artist Creations. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see our videos as they come out.
This game is all about these gathering the resources in space.
Is that like the Muppets in space?
Right. So you're gathering all these resources. You have a bunch of different ways that you can sell them or trade them or... Shoot, you can just put them in a blender and melt them all together and make some weird mishmash out of all of them. So there's a bunch of different ways you can...
Mandalorian armor.
Yeah, you can make a Mandalorian armor out of it, probably. Yeah, it's all about worker placement. It's about using these resources, collecting them, and spending them. Let me show you what it looks like on the table. Alright, so here is our board setup for Merchants of Infinity. This is a worker placement game, so we have these big giant meeples that we're going to be placing on the board and then taking those actions as we resolve them. But the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out the player order. So what we do, since we are all these merchants, hanging out at the spaceport, is we play a little game. It's called Cogs. So there's actually a deck of cards here. It's kind of a mini game that happens before the game. You're going to get dealt 5 cards, and you're going to have these cards in your hand. Then say anywhere from a number 0 to 4. And there's also some special ability cards that say like discard someone's card or double the last card that you played. Stuff like that. Everyone's going to declare a number of cards that they're going to play. So I might say, I'm going to play 2 cards. And then Bethany might say, I'm going to play 1 card or whatever it is. You can play as many cards as you want, but you're only going to get 1 additional card per turn. Basically, whoever has the highest number is going to go first. Everybody else kind of goes in turn order down here on this lower track over here. And that's how everything's going to be resolved. On the other side of the board, there's a little turn order track that tells you what turn it's going to be and how many turns you play based off how many players you have. So the gist of this game is it's an order fulfillment game. Basically, you're trying to get these certain resources and fulfill these contracts. So on these 2 spots over here on the far left and right, those are kind of bigger dollar amounts cards that you're going to be able to cash in resources for those big dollar cards. Down here at the bottom here, we have some small contracts. These are going to be 1 or 2 resources at a time that you can fulfill those contracts. Now over here in the middle, this is where we're going to get all of our resources. Now you can only get 3 of those resources per turn, and you can only have 3 people on one of those spots, or 2 if you're in a 2-player game or 3-player game. So you're going to go there. Let's say the next person, they might put something there. We're going to go round and around until we've put down all of our meeples. Again, this is the spot. Lets you ship the goods over there. And down here in the vortex bar, that's where we're going to give the intel to those lower cards as well. We've also got a spot at the top of the board over here. It's going to give us an extra meeple. That's the apprentice. Basically, you go there, and then for the rest of the game, or until someone else goes to that same spot, you get that meeple as an extra turn. That's going to be resolved at the very last meeple that you place. If you need an extra resource, let's say you needed one of these little gems over here, but it was blocked off, you can always go to the auction house. The auction house up there allows you to auction for one of those resources. If no one else goes there, you just have to pay 1 of your credits in order to get a resource of your choice. Otherwise, basically, you're going to have a bidding war. I'll bid 1, I'll bid 2, I'll bid 3, whatever it is, until everyone backs out. The last person standing has to pay that amount and gets a resource of their choice. Now, there are no actual resources. The resources are kind of described basically off where your meeples are at that time. So if you don't, no resources carry over from round to round. Up here in the top left area, there are some additional actions that you can take. The very top left one says Honest Trading, and you get 6 credits that way. There's a chance to gamble to try to get some credits and risk some credits. You can get +4 to your lab roll, which I'll explain. Ship orders, which are what the far left and right. You would get 5 if you went there, additional. Or you can change the market value too. So there's a lot of different actions over there that I didn't even talk about. Now the market value is this spot over here. It starts at a certain value. At the end of each round, you can rotate it. And all those resources, which are again reflected over here as well, they're going to rotate 1 in price. The reason that's important is maybe you didn't get enough resources to actually complete one of these cards over here. You can always sell to the market. So let's say you had a person up here in the food and drink section. You can sell based off of that at the end of the round for 10. But let's say you were really counting on one of these cards, but someone completed it before you. Now you've got a guy stranded out there with no resource, and it's only worth, let's say, 1. You can always, try to forge something in the middle of the space station. Instead of selling it to the market, you can move your person in there, sell that resource for however many credits that you get for a die roll. So in that case, it'd be worth 4, which is better than the 1 that you would have gotten originally. But perhaps if you had activated this spot, the +4 to the lab roll, now it would be worth 8. Up here at the top right of the board, these are all kind of some aggressive interaction spots. You can basically all agree to not use those spots in a game, and I would recommend for your first play probably not trying to do that, just so you can kind of get used to the rest of the game. But later on, if people want to get more aggressive, I'd say add in those purple spots. They do things like make the market value less, or you can steal profits from people, or you can make someone lose the roll of the D10. The game feels very different whether or not you use or don't use those purple action spots. Now, because this space station's out in the middle of this fractal space, reality is kind of ever-bending. So this very top spot over here at the top of the deck, or there's a deck right there, and that's the action spot for it. At the beginning of every turn, you're going to flip over a card, and it's going to give you a new reality. So this one says, for instance, in this world, ships orders score +10, which is fantastic. If you're going after one of these ship cards, it's going to be worth 10 extra credits. This one says, in this world, station spaces hold 2 traders, so you can get some additional people on a spot there. In this world, STEM lab rolls gain 5. So that's that roll where in the middle of the board, where you're rolling, you would get an extra 5 onto that roll. So that might be a really good time to go send people to the middle there. I got another one that says here, this world has no souvenirs. So basically, you use this kind of cancellation marker, and you would cover up the souvenirs. That would not be one of the resources that you could use for any of the cards, or to resolve any of those effects. So that's the game, more or less. This middle section here is all about getting those resources, and then from there you can sell them to basically one of 4 places. You can sell them out to these ship orders over here, these big large ones. You can sell them to the vortex bar over here at the bottom, 1 or 2 at a time. You can sell them to the market for whatever their market value is, based off that dial. And then also you can bring them to that middle section and use that lab roll to kind of forge some new thing based off whatever resources it is. Use the lab roll and get some random amount of credits that way. There's going to be a bunch of special abilities based off of that top left section and this purple interactive section over here. You're going to play a certain amount of rounds based off the number of players, and whoever has the most credits at the end of the game wins.
All right, so I liked that pre-game, and I liked how there was an action on the board during the game where you could get more of those cards to kind of like help your chances on the pre-game. Really had nothing to do with the game, but I kind of liked it, and I know that that is like a Bethany thing. Like, I don't know if a lot of people will like that, but I enjoyed the pre-game to the game.
Cogs.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought the color palette of this game was phenomenal. It had that perfect spacey kind of look, right? All the purples, blues, blacks, pinks. It just, it's very evocative of that kind of that space vibe.
You get Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people.
We had like a half-hour discussion about what we thought this dude looks like how he blended together. Who do you think he looks like?
Yeah, put it in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah, we want to know.
Yeah, so very cool color palette.
And I like how you never feel like you're wasting your resources. So you can't save your resources turn to turn. You only get those 3. But if somebody got the person that, the contract you were trying to do, there's still other options. You can sell those goods. You could, melt pot those goods, like Ryan said. You can do other things. And so even if somebody gets something you were going for, it's not like you're just out of luck. You still have things to do.
In addition to just the the resource gathering and selling of the resources, all that kind of stuff, at the top of the board there's all those additional spots as well. So you can kind of modify things that are already happening on the board. You can get extra resources that way. On the other side of the board, those purple actions, all those are those aggressive spots. That can really kind of spice things up a little bit. But only if all the people at the table agree on them, because you can really
they
change.
Can be mean.
It's mean. It can change the vibe of the games considerably. And so having those extra spots on the top of the board there can really, forgetting about those, you're going to hurt your score. You make sure you want to use those spots. They're a lot of fun.
So overall, I thought this was pretty fun. I liked how fast the turns were. You're literally just placing your dude, and then everybody else is placing your dude or your worker. Or what do they call them? Remember?
Don't put me on the spot.
I always put you on the spot.
Please don't. Meatball... Whatever is represented by the meeple.
Yeah, it's your meeple on the board. But that is super quick as it goes around the board.
I'll look it up, my dear. You just keep on talking for a while.
And so I really like how super fast that is. And because you can't keep any of the resources from turn to turn because it's just those 3, I really like that you only have to plan ahead for that action. You might plan ahead a couple turns ahead depending on what you have in your hand, but it wasn't something that you had to plan 3 or 4 or 5 turns. I guess there's not even that many. But anyway, you couldn't plan for the next 2 or 3 turns, and it makes people like me who can't do that able to be competitive in this game.
Traders.
Traders.
People are traders.
That's right, because I thought Ryan was saying traitors when he was teaching me this game.
I was probably pronouncing it wrong. It's traders.
Yeah, no, it's not
Ryan.
Ryan.
You trade for goods.
It's the burden of having to teach. Sometimes you just say all these words all the time. I don't fault you at all.
All right, so you guys, I love worker placement games. This is a really fun take on worker placement. I love gathering all those resources. There wasn't actually any resource tokens. All the resources were just kind of represented by where those trader meeples were on the board. And so there's never any carryover. There's, everything expired. So having them on the board, just, it just saves that having that many more tokens cluttering up the table. I thought that the Cogs game at the beginning was, it was cool. It was interesting. It didn't, they could have easily not put that in there and the game would have been just as fun. Yeah. However, you gotta figure out turn order somehow. Might as well make it something thematic like that. So It was fun. Overall, I had a great time playing Merchants of Infinity.
Well, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see our videos as they come out. You can also find us on Facebook under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. You can find us on Instagram under Ryan and Bethany, and you can chat with us on Twitter under Ryan and Bethany 1.
Everybody, thanks for watching. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.